segment now. Shit, internet apologists say is our next segment. Oh, it locks.
Oh.
Well,
and it affects all mics.
I'm sorry about the DJs.
I just had a vision or a moment. Did y'all hear that? There was some sort of voice from the sky. I think it was. I had a road to Damascus moment.
Jamie wants ice cream.
I think something about Lamey. Lamey wants nice things. That was something I couldn't understand. I better write this in a book.
Write this down. I don't want there to be 4 versions of this later.
That's great.
All right. So I was gonna talk about Matt Powell specifically because when I was doing research for Skylar getting a content strike, I thought that would pair well. For whatever reason, I thought two
like a nice wine.
And itself, yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Like a nice wine and a cork food.
You can tell I don't eat fancy food because I didn't finish that
with
metaphor.
Cheese.
Yeah.
Well, you can always do cheese.
Okay, sure.
Well, I mean, you can't pair any wine with cheese, but
you can't pair any wine with cheese.
You can't. You do. It's a specific thing when you pair a wine and a thing. So it's not just like you can't like.
Look, hey,
you are capable of.
Jamie,
it's not successful.
People should be able to have pairs of whoever they want.
All right.
Okay.
People can pair or more than 2 of anything, but no 2 winers can go together because then they're not invited to my game night.
Can you pair
they're the whiny couple?
Can you pair wine and cheese balls?
Yeah, if there's a whiny person and a cheesy person in a couple, then they can. Oh wait, no, you meant the food.
Yes. Food with scare quotes around.
And so that's
cheese
internet.
balls.
And so that's shit. Internet apologists.
All right.
No. The derailing show.
Yes. So what?
Because now we have to talk about someone who wants to execute all the gay people, and the tone is about to drop.
Yeah.
Like it's hot. So when I was doing this, and I slipped from the news story of him having the YouTube strike removed, I was reading part of this conversation, which was between Skylar, who is interviewing Matt Powell, who's the motherfucker.
Yeah, now are we going to get hit with a strike for a third hand?
We better not. No. We've got, I think.
A third hand retelling?
No. Well, I mean, it got reversed now, so we should be okay.
Right.
It's got reversed, and fans saying stuff, and they're trying. YouTube wants most of the flag to come from.
All right.
So break it down for me, Jamie. What do we got here?
My name is Jamie, and no, sorry.
Okay. You're off the air. That's too far.
You're not in radio. You don't know.
Hey, not this radio show. Okay, that's true.
This would never fly on Epistemic.
No, it wouldn't.
Yeah. Okay, so it was picking back up where I left off earlier. It was Skylar saying, "You don't believe that gay people should be stoned to death, do you?" And Powell, I believe the Bible puts the death penalty on it because he knows how grammar works.
Yeah.
Obviously, not by me or anybody in a regular society.
Regular society. That's such a strange phrase.
We live in a regular society.
God, it doesn't let me do my religious stuff.
Yeah.
I believe it's the government's job to execute criminals.
Sure.
I believe that the Bible says clearly that homosexuality is a criminal crime. Oh, that's right.
Criminal crime.
Back up one sentence. Back up one sentence there because the thing.
I believe it's the government's job to execute criminals.
Right. Okay,
Dodge all your responsibility.
Yeah. I just whatever. However you feel on the death penalty, right? The idea that Christians are always super pro death penalty is pretty much the most ironic thing in the world, considering their most sacred figure was executed by the state unjustly.
That's true. But I thought that was a good thing.
Well, it depends, because it's if you think that that's part of God's plan, then yeah. But if it's if you're one of those people who because there are people who blame the Jews for years and years for
the Bible says to blame the Jews,
right? So it's if you anyway,
the Bible told him to.
But it's so strange. Why would you blame? Okay, you blame the Jews, but you have to thank them.
Yeah,
right.
Because they started the religion too.
Because
right?
I mean, if they didn't execute Jesus, the Christians would have to do it because they've got to have their salvation.
Well, no,
yeah, it's complicated.
I mean, the Christians are the only people, the only religion with a vested interest in making sure that Jesus dies.
Yeah. There's actually in the early development of the Christian church, back when there was just sort of one unnamed amalgam spread over with where no one could read or write. There was a tradition that eventually developed around Pontius Pilate that made him a saint. For that reason, basically.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Is that he had to press the sentence.
Killing a dude.
Well, basically. But he didn't follow through, and he was like, "Oh, I'm just the poor government official charged with possibly executing someone."
If I could achieve sainthood for not following through, I would be like a super saint in the church. You know, like
so
awesome.
super saint.
And it's spin. I mean, it's like, okay, what about Judas, right? Where do Christians think Judas is? Well, they think he's burning in hell, right?
Yeah, there is that. But there is that Gnostic heresy.
Without Judas's sacrifice of his immortal soul to hell, you'd have no salvation. He's the freaking hero.
Job,
he's the OG.
He's just doing his job.
Self-sacrificer right there. He sacrificed his soul before Jesus, and Jesus didn't do anything wrong.
And it all goes to God's plan, man.
Yep.
Did Jesus have a soul the same way that Jews have a soul, though? That's interesting.
The same way that Jews have a soul?
No, Judas.
Okay, I was about to say, whoa.
I guess because he's human,
there's a line somewhere, Mr. Jew. Wait.
Yeah. Anyway,
but like kind of weird that you mentioned.
Does Jesus have a soul?
The Christians are big on the death penalty and stuff. Considering that Jesus got killed, ask them if they could go back in time, whether they would rescue Jesus.
Right. Yeah.
No.
That's true.
Yeah.
I've never gotten a yes.
Well, yeah. How else would you get washed in the blood of the Lamb?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they wouldn't even rescue him.
But the bigger problem with it is, though, and it's not just like the Jesus thing obviously is a big one, but the bigger problem is if you honestly believe in a theology that says anybody can be saved, anybody can turn the other cheek, anybody can change their mind, and you kill people because they did a crime. Like, if your whole thing is...
They'll never have the chance.
You got forgiveness from God because, so you don't have to go to hell. You don't have to face your punishment because you sinned, right? And, like, you're not going to forgive this other dude for sinning.
Yeah.
Like,
and Christian
you're punishing
death penalty
them.
Says, time's up.
Yeah, like, it's...
Oh, my God.
You know?
Wow.
And like,
good point.
Especially if you think about...
Excellent point.
Paul. Like, Paul at least was witness to a murderer, if not a murderer himself, kind of, depending on how you define that. I mean, not really. He was at least he was there, right? He didn't stop.
Some of his guys.
Yeah, and like he's one of the greatest legends of the Christian church in the history. I mean, he is the dude.
Well, I mean, basically the Christianity is based on the writings of Paul,
so
and the forgeries of Paul.
Yeah, and there's lots of people in the Bible who murdered other people too, like Moses.
God
killed the dude. Well, I mean that's a good one.
God wins. Have you seen the death count on that? Holy shit!
So anyway, death penalty stuff is just funny. It's just really funny to me. But this was about homosexuals, I believe. So maybe we should
homosexuals. I was going to say
that sounded
the death
weird.
penalty. Definitely not gay.
Yeah.
But yeah. I believe it's the government's job to execute criminals is where we went back to.
Okay,
And then I'm going to read the next sentence, even though I've read it before.
Sure.
It's my favorite one in this. I believe that the Bible says clearly that homosexuality is a criminal crime.
What does that mean, criminal crime? Are there non-criminal crimes? Is that a thing?
I mean, okay, so...
Is the word criminal even used in the Bible anywhere?
Well, no, because it wasn't written in English.
Right.
But,
well, yeah.
It refers to.
Yeah, if we're talking like Leviticus and stuff.
Crimes. I mean, just in stories that it tells. It talks about people being arrested.
Yeah, it talks about people being criminals. Like Jesus was with two other criminals.
Two other criminals, thus making Jesus a criminal. So it is the government's job to kill Jesus. Boom. Check me.
I guess.
I've broken down.
You're going down any responsibility.
You're going down a path that I don't want to follow, Jamie.
It's going down a path I cannot follow.
But
I have brought peace and order to my new.
I guess I don't understand.
It's a criminal crime.
Criminal crime. I choose to follow that and say that it's not him not knowing how to use English or a slip of the tongue.
Yeah.
I choose to believe that yes. So logically, if there are crimes and there are criminal crimes, then there must be crimes that you can specify as not being criminal. So we have to figure out what kind of, I don't know.
I don't think so. I just think that means, it's just a dumb word, Jamie.
I think you're
you're overthinking it.
Yeah, I'm overthinking it. I feel like Occam's razor is this guy is dumb. But
criminal crimes.
No, that and the next sentence is it's a crime.
But it says, So Christians say this a lot, like homosexuality is a criminal crime. So like, what does that mean specifically? Does that mean because they don't make the distinction between like having feelings for somebody versus doing?
Well, so what I was
who's charging them with the?
Yeah,
the only judge that matters. Judge Jesus.
Jesus. I just imagine like Judge Dredd, like Jesus as Judge Dredd.
I was imagining him as Judge Judy.
That one works too.
It's Judge Jesus. These two people are having a dispute over who gets to tear down the fence. It's like I'm trying to picture what Jesus would say in a sassy, dismissive voice, but.
So
I don't know. When I was in Catholic school, they did say there was a distinction between having gay thoughts and doing gay things.
And
so they've come around to that as much.
That's
Society
the rhetoric.
has pushed the church forward slightly.
Yeah.
Some of it.
Yeah, that's the rhetoric that's pushed now. And and there are churches that are supportive of the LGBT individuals. And one of the biggest organizations I know of is the Gay Christian Network. That is, and they have two different views on it. From what I understand, it's this idea of either you choose to be. You recognize, they don't deny that you're gay, right? But they do say like, you can either choose to be celibate the rest of your life, or you can choose to have partnership with people and stuff like that. And those are kind of the two different ideas. But either way, it's still like, it's still...
Wait, they allow the person in their church?
It depends on the personal theologies of people. Like, I think they just let people kind of figure that out, whether they want to choose to act on their gayness or to, live like a normal person. I guess it depends on who... And have like relationships and
other
things.
people in the town are like. But
it's
it's going to determine whether or not I'm celibate forever. But
so like this thing that is homosexuality is a criminal crime. So I guess he's talking about in Leviticus 18, where it says that like homosexuality. I think it's 18. It might be 22. Like homosexuality is an abomination, right? Yeah, and it's saying that abominations should be. Put to death.
Stoned to death.
So I guess he wants, because you can't just take all the laws there that are found in that chapter alone and just put them into modern society, right? I mean, that's kind of...
Well, it's funny that you say that. It's funny that you say the first part.
They seem to do it.
They seem to do that, and they seem to be perfectly okay eating lobster.
And getting tattoos.
Yeah,
they got no sweat with that.
But usually you don't... This is...
The number of Jesus tattoos. There was someone who had Leviticus... that thing tattooed on their arm.
Which is fantastic.
Like, what the hell?
I love that.
If I was going to get a tattoo, I would get a tattoo of the passage that said no tattoos.
Absolutely.
But this isn't like, you don't see it this outright usually. But nowadays, like you said, it's more of it's a difference between like action and whatever. Like I don't see as many stories.
It's okay if they're only styling my hair.
Because I think most sophisticated theologians at least understand that we are redeemed from the Old Testament, the New Covenant theology, right?
Well, theologically, yes. But also, I would say they're humans, and whether or not they try and Jesusify their humanness, the human part is real, and Jesus is not. And so the fact that they just live in a society where people are not stoned and executed regularly, and there isn't this fervor, affects the conclusions that they come to.
It's the benefits of living in a secular society, basically.
Although the fact that rhetoric like this, and this is why I wanted to bring this up, as my shit internet apologists say, is on its way back, and theocrats are just unbelievably, blatantly forthcoming about their plans, right? Like Project Blitz is a group of people that are like, oh, okay, well, if we have so many legislatures in so many states and so many places that if we get them to pass as many unconstitutional laws as possible, we'll overwhelm the court system and the court won't be able to deal with it. Is their plan now. It is entirely...
So their plan is
filibustering.
They respect the government so much, their plan is to fuck up the government.
Yes. It is no longer, oh, what is the way to change the law? It's, oh, well, here's this thing that exists that's laws and government in our society. Let's do whatever the fuck we can to it so that Jesus can Jesus all over everyone's Jesus.
Gotta love this country. You know, America. This is what we're about. This is
win at any cost.
This is what the founding fathers intended.
Yeah, they intended a society where people treated law like it was a sick game.
Yeah, happy 4th of July,
well,
everybody.
Happy 4th. The Constitution was a good game design as far as it went, but unfortunately they allowed for there to be a victory condition, which is getting all the branches of government. Well, once you win that, you can put the pieces back in the box and put it on the shelf.
To be clear, that's a victory condition that exists in any kind of government. It just depends on the size and the method, right? Like if we didn't have...
we had all these great, push me, pull you sort of divisions of power that actually worked pretty well. Works pretty well as a game design.
It works pretty well if with the right society. And when there can be...
but of course,
unity and cooperation between the executive and legislature.
Gaming the actual system, then things start going to hell.
To be quite honest, all of the countries on the African continent, right? If you want to make a comparison between presidential systems and parliamentary systems, ones where the executive is separate, like ours, those ones fail way more often. When you have an unbelievably divided society that can't come to any agreement on anything.
Right.
So when you have cultural or tribal differences that go back more generations than anyone can do archaeology, you can't do that. And right now our country is approaching a level of dividedness on those lines, like the conditions under which our system of government. I mean, this is very doom and gloom. Once again, happy 4th of July. It's going to be great. Hopefully, the only things that explode will be fireworks. Brought it right back down again. But this is a perilous time. Don't everyone freak out. We could all be dead tomorrow.
So I think you were trying to motivate people with that speech.
I was trying to, and then I realized I'm talking about reality.
I'm just letting you know it didn't work at all.
It didn't work at all. Well, okay, so but part of the problem is things are bad now, but they got bad through a series of steps that can be undone. It's just a lot of work, and it's a lot of educating, and it involves being more patient and a bigger person than the kinds of forces that we're opposing. And some of the damage will take probably at least 10 years to undo. But now everyone, even people that before were politically complacent, are on board and are aware. So,
and hopefully that will do some good.
We have started on the path, as best I can tell, towards fixing everything, but we can't really walk anywhere on it until,
certain things occur.
Certain things occur, but this is a 501c3.
Well, we're going to have a civil war today, so I wonder how did that go? How did the Civil War go today?
That's right. Are you talking about Alex Jones?
Yeah.
Did you hear about this?
I have no idea.
So Alex Jones predicted that the Democrats were going to start a civil war today.
Yeah.
Alex Jones is never wrong.
So it must have gone.
You want to know what I found?
There have been post after post of people going, okay, I'll bring the s'mores if you'll make sure the fire's going. And
I found out an interesting fact
we'll have a big civil war.
I found out an interesting fact about Alex Jones the other day. I don't know if you know this. So you know about the David Koresh Church up in Waco? The Branch Davidians.
The Branch Davidians.
He was actually there during the protests and stuff when people were like against the government, like trying to invade on these people practicing their religion freely and stuff, right? Actually, Alex Jones was the one who helped lead the project to help rebuild the church out there back in '98. Because you can go to the church and it's still there. You can take tours and stuff. And he helped rebuild.
I thought they had like a wall and a compound.
Yeah, it's a compound, but like everything got burned down. Like when everything, you know, when the situation went down. But Alex Jones actually helped build up this cult's compound, like using money that he raised and stuff. He organized that. I thought that was very interesting. I don't know if he still is in support of that now, but you know, it's something to think about.
All right.
Of course he is, because he's an American.
It's
Liberty, Jesus.
They're turning the freaking frogs gay.
Right.
Oh man, what's the one where he's like, "What do I do, Lord? Destroy the child." that clip cracks me up every single time.
Oh, there's a YouTube channel. I think it's called Todd Dracula or something where he does these awesome edited parodies of Alex Jones. It's just footage of Alex Jones, but cut together, like not like sound bitten, but like with zooms and pans and like background music.
Have you seen that super deluxe video of Alex Jones where they turned like Alex Jones is like an indie song? It sounds like a Bon Iver song. It's really good.
We'll have to listen to it after the show.
It's really funny.
We'll post it on the NonProphets discussion group.
Yeah, sure.
Where we will then get lots of hate mail for my like unbelievably downer, we're all gonna die rant that I just went on there for no reason.